Hey everyone, and in today's video, I'm going to be answering questions that you guys have. As some of you know, I was never the pageant girl. Like growing up, I was totally a sportsy, outdoorsy tomboy girl. Like I never thought I would ever do a pageant. And actually, I did not sign up for this pageant. My grandmother signed me up. So we looked more into it, and I found out that if I were to ever do a pageant, I probably would enjoy this one the most. It has a lot to do with business and a lot to do with the city of Scott. And so I was like, you know what, let's give it a shot. So in about an hour or so, we were eating lunch. It was a late lunch, so it was like 3 o'clock when we were eating, and she had come and talked to us about this. I had done like 2 hours of research, because I'm a research girl. Oops. But by like 5, I had to have a whole paper written about me, from top to bottom. I wrote it up and had to go bring it to the lady in Scott, who actually turned out to be Miss Mary. I love Miss Mary. I ended up finding out, so this happened on a Friday, and the pageant was on that next Sunday. Like, not like, oh, get a week or like a couple months. Like a lot of times, like girls who go to pageants and do pageants, they have months and months to prepare in advance. Not Ashlyn. Mine was in 2 days. Basically, the reason that my grandmother wanted me to do this so badly was because she had been, for years now, like asking me, like, Ashlyn, you should do modeling, you should do photography, you need to do pageants. And every time the Miss America pageant came on, she called me and said, you need to watch it, you need to take notes. As I did that, it actually kind of grew my interest in that industry, and I just didn't quite know how much time I needed, and I had a day or two. Who did I want to be? And I needed to pick who that I was going to be as someone who would represent Scott, and how was I going to portray that to the judges and stick with that in the event that I was chosen. So it was a lot of thought, and I was kind of freaking out a little bit, but you know, God works everything out for the good. So no one knew about this, no one knew. And I walk into this room and it's just a lot of other teenage girls there, and I was kind of like, oh my gosh, like, this is legit, this is real. They weren't these ugly little ducklings from around Louisiana. Like, they were pretty. Because I walked in and I saw a couple of them and I was like, okay, maybe I should just go home. And I was just praying, I was like, God, you know, really just give me the words to say. Let me be myself, and if this isn't meant to be, you know, allow the judges to see that, but if it is meant to be, allow them to see that too. Let me just stand out with every other girl here. Just let me be that girl that look at and go like, wow, I like her. I think I was the second Miss to be called. There was a junior Miss competition, and then there was a Miss competition. 4 judges, and I sat in a chair, and it was in a room by myself with these ladies, and they asked me like a whole page, like this huge list of questions. Answered every single one of them truthfully, honestly, how I felt about certain issues in the world. Like issues, like they asked me like what is the main issue that the economy and the government and the world is facing at this time. That's just not something you go in thinking, oh yes, I know the answer to all the world's problems, and I'm just gonna let them know this is exactly the answer. You just kind of have to go off of your morals and your convictions. They were smiling the whole time, which was a good sign. And then they asked me what the mayor of Scott was. I said, it's Mr. Morrison. And they were like, who? Looked at each other. It looked like as though no one had answered that question correctly. So that was a score for me, for sure. So after about those 2 hours were done, we moved into another room. And that was the room where they announced the winners, and they congratulated all of us. And then they said, well, the winner of the Junior Miss competition is Miss Sadie Hebert, and she shot up, and she was the cutest one. When they said the Miss Scott 2017-2018 is Ashlyn Hanks, I shot up and ran up there, and it was really a blur. Like, I was like so shocked. My whole family was like, ah! And it was just my mom, my grandmother, and my cousin there. No one else knew but those people. Pictures, and I signed a whole lot of papers, because in going into something like that, it's not just, oh, you're pretty, you look the part. and that's all you have to do. No, you have to go to like almost all the events that they have in Scott. Everything that's big, you're going to. Asked me in the interview, why did you come here? Like, why did you want to be Miss Scott? And I said, well, actually my grandmother signed me up. She wanted me to be here, and now that I'm here, I'm absolutely so grateful that I did this. But she actually really wanted me to come, and she thinks that she sees in me someone who could win this thing. And so after I won, they came up to me and they looked at me and they said, listen, your grandmother knows what she sees in people, and she knew you better go over there and give her a big old kiss, because she saw something in you that we all saw too. And I was like, ah! I was so excited, okay? I got in the car and I was like shaking, just a smidge excited, that's all. I don't think I even knew how big of a deal it was even in that moment, until like a couple of weeks later that I was actually going to these events like the Buddha Festival and stuff, and I was like, wow, this is actually a really big deal. Like, people want me to do photo shoots, and I'm invited to the Scott Mardi Gras ball. Like, that's actually a really big thing. Going back and reminiscing on how I even made it here was so much fun for me to do. If you like this video, give it a big thumbs up and subscribe. And thank you guys so much for watching.